URC semi-final number 2, folks. The Bulls and the Sharks, and it's the Bulls who get it done at home. They have booked themselves a spot in another URC final. Cracking atmosphere at Loftus. How good to see two South African teams going at it, hammer and tongs. The wingers getting in action for both sides. A bunch of yellow cards. Pretty crazy game. We'll go through some of the key events and the stats, and you guys can let us know your thoughts. But I think if you're a Bulls fan, you'll be pretty pleased with how your scrum went, particularly in the first half. You will not be pleased with the way the discipline was in terms of getting 3 yellow cards in pretty quick succession. And the injury to Cameron Honeycomb, seeing that guy on crutches at the end of the game, that's a bit depressing, but fingers crossed he has a speedy recovery. But it didn't look good when he went off. But yeah, what an atmosphere at Loftus. It was certainly better than the atmosphere at the Aviva in the previous semi-final, but it makes sense because this is traditional rivals. If it had been Leinster up against Munster in their semi, I think that would have been more comparable. But geez, that was good. 47,000 fans. It was loud. I've watched this much delayed because it was on at like something 4 in the morning. And I didn't want to watch this one first because I knew they would spoil the previous semi-finals results. I've watched this one much belatedly, but yeah, it was pretty good entertainment value, I thought. First shove from the Bulls scrum looked real ominous, and it was one of the things I was majorly looking forward to about this game because you'd seen the Sharks and the Bulls both very strong at scrum time in their previous recent matches, but the Bulls scrum definitely seemed to have the edge over the Sharks in the first couple, although the Sharks were able to at least get the ball out before they got pinged, which was at least pleasing. But their third scrum on like the 6th minute, there were a few drop balls in this game. Big tight head from the Bulls pack, although when they spin it wide, Ethan Hooker intercepts it and looks to have potentially gone over for the first try, but he was in an offside position. So pretty crazy stuff, but certainly the Bulls big time on top at scrum time, which is potentially going to be a key thing in the final because it's such a weapon in that Bulls arsenal. And the Bulls, they did get the first try of the game, and it was slick. Line-out move, it's like on 7 minutes. Papier with the big carry. Mbros Papier was having, I don't know, one of the best games I've seen him play in ages. I mean, he's a good player. But geez, he was on fire in this one. Wide pass to Sebastian de Klerk. That guy's got the footwork to go over for the try. He ends up getting man of the match. But 7 points to 0 for the Bulls early. The crowd really getting behind them. But yeah, the Bulls did start to concede a few penalties. The Shark opted for a long-range shot at goal early on, but that one was a miss. And they did miss a few shots at goal, did the Sharks in this one, unfortunately for them. And then Jaden Hendrickse put the Sharks, Munster fans would have been laughing at this one because they don't like Jaden Hendrickse after last week. But Jaden Hendrickse slipped when he was trying to box kick from his own line, so his kick ended up going kind of nowhere. The Bulls pounced on it. Sebastian de Klerk, he's the guy who puts a cross kick through to his wing partner who's in the 24 jersey as they pay tribute to recently passed away former Bulls winger Cornell Hendricks, which I thought was a pretty nice touch. But cross kick to Moody. And yeah, second try in the right corner for the Bulls. So 12 points to 0 is looking like a hell of a start from the Bulls. And the way their scrum was going, I didn't necessarily see the Sharks getting back into this one easily, especially seeing as the Sharks' handling continued to like not be that impressive. But they did get the next penalty to at least, it was a bit closer, to at least get themselves back within touching distance. Like 12-3 is by no means game over. And Lucanio I know he's a really good player, but I don't think he looked that good today. I might even say he looked kind of, I don't want to say bad, but geez, he had some shocking moments. Like he had one moment in itself where he had the right position to pinch a Bulls pass and then immediately put boot to ball, and it was one of the worst kicks you've ever seen. He dropped a bunch of balls as well in this game, like just sometimes trying to go for those miracle passes that he used to be able to do, but they were not coming off for him in this game. So yeah, that kick after a good moment where he pinches Bull's ball was kind of indicative of where the Sharks were at for this one. Forster then gets a yellow card for the Bulls for a kind of cynical little bit of play at the breakdown, not releasing, chucking his hand in there to slow the play down, which gives the chance for the Sharks to attack with an extra man, but the Bulls did really shut them down. The Sharks ended up opting for a 3, but missed that one. And then the Sharks' execution, you feel like in the yellow card period was just poor. Like, it's the time when you're supposed to be putting the other team under the pump, but they conceded a penalty at scrum time. Then they conceded a penalty at the breakdown. So back-to-back penalties, piggyback the Bulls up the field. Bulls opt for 3 points. So the yellow card period at that point is 3-0 to the Bulls. That's not how it's supposed to go when you are the team with the man advantage. But then we get a couple more yellow cards for the Bulls. One through Honeycomb with a tip tackle on Khaleesi. So we go 15-on-13 for about a minute. But the Bulls are able to hold on. And then as the Bulls go back to 14, then Marcel Coetzee gets a yellow card. So it's a third yellow card in quick succession for the Bulls. And this time the Sharks try to go in the corner, but they end up getting held up. So it is some horrendously, I don't want to say poor execution, but just lack of clinical edge from the Sharks. And the Bulls, bloody brave defense to just hold them out, despite the fact they got a man disadvantage. So we go into the sheds, and the Bulls have got a decently comfortable lead. But the Sharks did get some wide ball to start the second half. It's like they started it with a bit too much kicking. I felt like if you've got a two-man advantage, there is going to be space in the defensive line of your opponent. I felt like the Sharks were just playing into the Bulls' hands by trying to win a kicking battle with them. But eventually, they did get the ball wide. They found some width, 15v13. And Mapimpi was able to go over for an unconverted try to make it 15 points to 8. That's when we got Honeycomb go off not long later. He got cleaned up by Sia Khaleesi. It was nothing malicious in it, but just the way his kind of fell back on his hamstring looked bad, and he was down for a while. And as I said, crutches at the end of the game. Brutal stuff for a hell of a young player, but like I said, hopefully he comes back quickly. But that happened, and then at the end of the yellow card period, the Sharks spread the ball wide once again. This time we saw the other wing. It was Jordan Hendricks out to Ethan Hooker, who's had a hell of a season, and it's try time, 15v13. 15v13 is proper game on, but that is the final scoring for the Sharks. As the Bulls got back to 15 men, they started to look more comfortable. They got some go-forward ball. Sharks concede a penalty, opt for the 3, 18-13. Sharks concede more penalties. The Bulls opted for another 3, although that one missed, which kind of kept it just within touching distance. Because we saw a particular Super Rugby game yesterday where that happened, and the team got punished for it, but not in this case for the Bulls because it didn't matter. It actually led to the next try. From the 22 dropouts, the Bulls, again, it's that man Papier involved. First initial big carry, and then Papier pops it out. And David Creel is able to finish off a Bulls immediate reply to that 22 dropout. That one the Sharks will not be happy with, but slick stuff from the Bulls. 25-13. I write the note. Game over, question mark. Sharks need some magic. Arm ends up dropping the ball. They don't get the magic. Fussy did put in a hell of a kick with like 4 minutes to go, which forced the Bulls to take the ball into touch, which meant the Sharks had one last chance for an attacking play. Jordan Hendricks with the wild like 50-50 pass out wide. It goes forward, and that is certainly all she wrote. So yeah, Bulls pretty good value for their win, despite the fact that they had less possession and territory, less run meters, less defenders beaten. They did have a higher tackle percentage, but only 78, which is kind of shockingly low. But the Sharks were even lower for this one, which is surprising. Visa had 19 tackles. Nokia had 17 tackles, so some big defensive shift from the Bulls lads. Sebastian de Klerk, 8 defenders beaten in 94 meters. That guy is sharp, also sets up a try with that cross kick as well. Mapimpi, 6 defenders beaten in 120 meters on a losing shift for the Sharks lads. But yes, Bulls off to Dublin for a final. Can they get it done? Well, the scrum is certainly going to be a key aspect, you would feel. They will need to be a bit more defensively sound because the tackle rate, like I mentioned, was not phenomenal, but sometimes the line speed was just doing enough to make the Sharks guys uncomfortable and forcing some kind of Can you force an unforced error? Forcing errors from the Sharks, guys, if you know what I mean. But it's going to be a cracking final next week in Dublin. It's a 4 a.m. kickoff for me, but I think I will get up for the final because I do not want to risk any spoilers. Fortunately, didn't have any spoilers for this one. And I'm pleased because it was a cracking game. You guys let us know your thoughts. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. Drop us a like, all that jazz. Take care, folks, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.